Okay, we are doing our study guide for Unit 1. Compare using less than, greater than, or equal to. Well, the square root of 25 is really 5, so therefore 5 is less than 16. This one, the important part to represent and notice is that it's from least to greatest, not greatest to least. That would be where I would make my mistake. So I have to go off to the side and number all these lovely things. So the absolute value of 3 is really just 3. 7 halves means 7 divided by 2, which is negative 2.5. This is 4.5, this is 3.14 ... 4.90. So the first thing I did is make all the numbers the same format. And since it has to be least, I recognize that it has to be one of the negative numbers. So negative 2.5 on my number line, negative 4.5, negative 2.5, 0. So negative 2.5, which the computer is going to make you write it as negative 7 halves. Then the next number, oh, look, I did it and drew it and then still wrote the wrong thing. So the smallest number is really negative 4.5. The next smallest number is this number right here, negative 2.5. But we have to write it like the book wants us to. The computer only knows it as how it assigned it. So I've done this one, I've done this one, and then my choices would be 3 would come next, which is the absolute value of negative 3. So I have to write it the way that it tells me to. And so I've got that one done. And then pi, and then 4.90, which is 4.91. Make sure you're paying attention to all the places that I could have made a mistake, because obviously it's easier said than done. Drag the numbers in the blue boxes to the appropriate place on their corresponding number line. So you guys are going to be drawing things. And this is what we've been practicing in class. We've got rational and we've got irrational numbers. So I am going to go through first and I'm going to highlight my rational numbers. This one ends. This one ends. That's a fraction. That's a perfect square. That's a fraction. That's a whole number. So all of those are rational numbers. I'm going to deal with those first and put those on the number nine. So negative 4.82 would be about there. Negative 4 would be about there. Negative 6/15. So that's less than 1. So we'll go with about here. Might not be perfect, but I know it's between 0 and negative 1. Square root of 25 is really 5, so it will go there. 3/5 is not quite 1, so it goes there, and then regular old 6. The numbers that I have left to do is pi minus 2 and the square root of 29. So pi minus 2 would be 3.14 minus 2, which is 1.14. So 1.14, that is pi minus 2. Square root of 25 is going to be between the square root of 25 and the square root of 36. So it's between 5 and 6. So that means the square root of 25 is somewhere around there. Ta-da. Push pause if you need to. We're going to move on. Now, these are just check boxes. They're my favorite. Are they rational or irrational? And the answer to those questions would be, this is rational because it's a perfect square. Irrational because it's pi. 6/15, it's a fraction. Square root of 101 is irrational because it's not perfect. 8.1 is rational because it ends. This one is rational because it repeats. It could have been written 0.16 repeating. Looking carefully at this 3.16171.819, this is not end, and it does not repeat. 2/3 is a fraction, and 0 is a whole number. So there's our rational and irrational numbers. Question number 5 may not be on your piece of paper, but you're going to write it in. Well, I'm going to try to text it in. Let's see if it lets me. Sarah says that Sarah says that 9.1213141516 ... is...
Nathan Wade, please go to the caller line. Your ride is there.
Sarah says that 9.12121222 is irrational because it never ends and is a repeating pattern. Mary says that it is irrational. Who is right and why? Now, I will tell you that I have worked on this quite a bit. So the person that is right is Mary. Is right because it doesn't repeat. It is a pattern, but there are no numbers that you can put a line over to indicate repeat. So I'm going to read it again. Mary is right because it doesn't repeat. It's a pattern, but there's no numbers that you can put a line over to indicate repeating. So if that was 9.121212, ... you could rewrite that as 9.12 repeating. Because that number of 2's changes, you can't keep repeating.